What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at Commando, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by Mark L. Lester. Let's waste no time. Let's get into it. I think Commando is the quintessential 1980s action movie. This movie has everything you want in an 80s movie. It has Arnold Schwarzenegger being awesome. It's got an over-the-top plot line that makes absolutely no sense, but it doesn't matter because Commando knows what it is. This movie is testosterone-filled masculinity at its absolute finest. SJWs of the modern era will have a heart attack if you show them Commando because it's everything that they hate, and I love this movie for it. Arnold Schwarzenegger as John Matrix. I think John Matrix is one of Arnold's most underutilized and underappreciated heroes. I love John Matrix. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie. His one-liners in this movie are just as fun and cheesy as they are in any other movie, but it's great. And he has a supporting cast that is equally on his level. You have David Patrick Kelly, who plays this character called Sully, and I love this little rivalry that kind of develops between Sully and the Matrix, especially since Matrix's daughter has been kidnapped, and Sully is making some really lewd remarks about it, and John pretty much has some of the best one-liners, like, I like you, Sully, I like you a lot, that's why I'm going to kill you last. And then later on in the movie, John's like, hey, Sully, remember I told you I was going to kill you last? I lied. Great stuff. And David Patrick Kelly as Sully, he's equally hilarious. I think David Patrick Kelly is one of the most underutilized character actors in Hollywood. And I like this little, I just like the sleazy smirkness that Sully has. Now, Sully also has his own little subplot where he's kind of chasing this stewardess named Cindy, played by Rae Dong Chong, who has a role in this movie as she's kind of becomes Matrix's partner, but I think Rae Dong Chong is a weak link to this movie. I think her character doesn't add anything to the plot whatsoever, and I think Rae Dae Chong is actually not that good of an actress. I mean, you could have gave the character of Cindy something if you would have like teased a little bit of a romance between her and John, but the movie doesn't really go that way, or it does it it does it in a very lazy, flimsy, just very overly subtly way where you can't really tell, and it kind of makes the character of Cindy kind of pointless. I didn't really care for it. Alyssa Milano, who plays John's young daughter, I thought she did fine in one of her early roles. I thought she was fine as a daughter. Vernon Wells, who plays the character of Bennett, he is great. Bennett is not shown enough in this movie, and I don't like that because I like the character of Bennett. He's kind of like the antithesis of John Matrix. They're one and the same, but Bennett is the evil side to the John Matrix's good side, and I thought Vernon Wells complemented the role of Bennett very very well. And there are moments where where the character of Bennett does get a chance to shine, and he's just as equally great. But I think Bennett really shines in the last half of this movie, where he takes over the mantle as the real lead villain, and he has this one scene where Arnold plays into Bennett's inner psycho, and Vernon Wells plays it so over the top. You see the man orgasm on screen at the thought of killing somebody with a knife. It's freaking hilarious. I love this movie. And you have Dan Hedaya, who plays the other villain, but his character is just there to manipulate John into planning a coup and overthrowing a nation. That's pretty much, and as blackmail, Hedaya has kidnapped John's daughter to make sure that this thing goes down. So Hedaya's character doesn't really add much in my opinion. But a side character that I do like is this character called Cook, played by Bill Duke, and Cook is actually the first villain we see before the credits. As he shoots a couple of people, he has a couple of cool one-liners to himself, and he and Matrix have a very entertaining as hell fight scene inside of a motel room where they interrupt a couple doing a sex tape. It's completely goofy and over the top, and I love it. Speaking of over the top, the action violence in this movie is, like I said, this movie is not grounded in any sense of realism. The action is stylized, it is over the top, and it is mountains and mountains and mountains of fun. Especially the last 20 minutes where John Matrix is in full-blown commando mode and he's killing every single son of a bitch in sight. It's utterly awesome. It's a grand spectacle. I mean, from an overall visual standpoint, I thought Mark L. Lester did an okay job. He did a journeyman's job. This movie is not really visually dynamic in a way, but it gets the job done. And I thought Mark L. Lester did an overall solid job at directing this thing. Again, the storyline to this movie is completely convoluted and over the top, but that's okay because it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and these movies are not really meant to be, and these movies are just meant to have fun. And this movie is having so much fun, and you can tell this movie's having so much fun. It knows what it is. This movie is 100% machismo, and you can't get any better than Commando. Whew. So, with all that being said, now there's a lot more to talk about Commando. Like, I can talk about the James Horner score, which is completely just wow. What is with the score in this movie? It does not match the tone of this movie whatsoever. You have like this dance club music to a lot of scenes that are trying to build suspense, and it just looks and it just feels completely just disjointed and out of whack. So yeah, I mean, in any other movie, I think the score is fine, but in this movie, it just doesn't work for me at all. It's hilarious. It's unintentionally hilarious. I'll give it that. And if you want to play into the movie's overall atmosphere, then yeah, I guess it plays into the over the top, just fun atmosphere this movie has, and the overall goofy silliness that this movie is as well. But looking at it in the context, it is kind of weird and it doesn't really go. So yeah, overall, Commando for me gets a 9 out of 10. I think this movie is great. It is masculine. It is masculinity awesomeness at its absolute finest. Definitely one of the best mid 80s action movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger you'll ever see. So yeah, those are my quick thoughts on Commando. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I will check you back next time for more.